push it back.
Oh, he's refusing to eat. Yeah, he's doing like a hunger strike type thing, I bet.
Sorry to report he's refusing all food, sir.
Oh, for God's sake. Don't make a martyr. It's the last thing we need.
Sir.
You need to stop this hunger strike.
Didn't they sentence him to hanging? So
Yeah.
what would be the
what
would be the difference?
As fast as the court went, I thought they'd be proceeding relatively quickly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're gonna force him.
Oh, wow.
Oh, going all the way down his throat.
I think this is more about establishing, like, you're going to eat
Yeah,
whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
So the first time, it's a big act of force. God.
Seems like the only time he can sleep, he sees her.
Yeah.
शादी नहीं करेगी कभी हमेशा दोस्ती रहेगी हैं ठीक है मत कर मैंने भी नहीं करनी शादी
I mean, are they still trying to get information from him? What are they waiting for?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe this is his last meal.
सब कुछ तो बता दिया आपको. Nothing more to tell you, Mr. Swen.
I know you're not a killer. You've never killed anyone before in your life. What happened that day?
Oh, are we going to get the flashback to
Yeah.
1919?
Yep, here we go. We're going to see the whole thing, I bet. It's interesting how they had the locals working with the British. I mean, you remember in RRR, they kind of touched on that a little bit and showed us some of that.
Okay, so he was a young man.
Yeah. 23 years old.
A protest has been called at Jallianwala Bagh, but it's likely to be peaceful.
Likely. But it's going to be political, yes?
Yes, sir.
So it's an unlawful gathering, isn't it? Call for General Reginald Dyer. Amritsar is in the hands of the rebels. It is your job to get it back.
I will need your permission to proclaim martial law, sir.
You are the man on the ground, General. You must act as you deem necessary.
Thank you, sir.
Punishment of itself is not necessarily a deterrent. But if the punishment is such that it creates a fear of punishment, that would be of great practical value. We need to set an example.
Sir.
Good night.
God, that seems like an awfully vague
Instructions. And like limitations.
Like basically, you know what I mean without
saying it.
Well, you know, one of the other things that you can do when you say something like that is you're kind of setting yourself up for defense. Well, I never said that. I just said, handle it. And he went way out,
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got a bad feeling about this.
कर्फ्यू लग गया मैं जा रहा हूँ नहीं मैं नहीं आ रहा जल्द से मैं कल सो रहा हूँ.
Oh, so he didn't join the gang.
Yeah, he wasn't even really big in the revolution.
He didn't have a reason.
Yeah.
He had, he had.
Jesus, here we go.
He had a girl. He had
Yeah.
a job. He had everything he wanted.
Yep.
So when he takes something away from someone. Ugh.
Oh boy, here we go.
Ugh. No.
That was her, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Should we issue a warning, sir?
They've had their warning.
Oh no. Oh my God, they all sat back down.
Oh. Oh.
आपको वो सब के बारे में पता नहीं होगा. छोटा सा कहीं लिखा होगा किसी किताब के कोने में.
But you weren't even there when the firing started. What did you see?
I was late.
Mali, क्यों? क्यों?
मुंह सूखा हो, होंठ सूखे हो, जान जरा सी बची हो, तो पानी कैसे मांगते हैं, उसे गले कैसे उतारते हैं.
जी, जी, पानी, पानी.
सांस बस जाने वाली हो, तो रूह कैसे संभालते हैं. हाय रब्बा मेरे.
पानी बस. पानी, 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 पानी. जी पानी, पानी ले.
Oh no.
Oh, he's gonna see everything.
रेशमा 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 रेशमा
बस हो गया बस 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 क्या कर चल अखा नहीं बंद करनी सोना निकाल के
भैन जी भैन जी
छोटा बच्चा
और बहुत लोग हैं बाग में सारे बिखरे पड़े मैं जा रहा हूँ
पानी पी
कोई जिंदा है
भाई ठीक हो
भाई दो रुको रुको होने अभी रे पानी लेके आई अब पानी लेके आए थे
पापा जी नहा लो सब ठीक है
वाहेगुरु
It's just like, what do you do?
For him, it's everything you can.
Yeah. Jeez.
5-6 घंटे हो गए पानी बंद कर रखा है कौन पहुंच में क्या बचेंगे नहीं डॉक्टर चाहिए
They cut the water supply.
Yeah, they cut the water and the phones and everything.
और कितने
बहुत लोग हैं पर बाहर अभी कर्फ्यू लगा है
पिया मोतियां पीछे
वो सांस ले रही है, हाथ पैर भी हिल रहे हैं। दादी,
He's still going.
Still going.
What else would you do?
Yeah.
How would you stop?
Yeah.
That's all you could do is keep going. That's all you could do.
And before he even was taken to the hospital, it was 5 to 6 hours just taking him to that one spot.
Yeah.
नहीं पतंग उड़ाते हैं? काटी पतंग किसी की हैं? मेरे साथ उड़ाएगा पतंग हैं? एक बार ना इकट्ठे उड़ाएंगे पतंग बस बहुत अच्छा शाबाश मैं अभी आया इसको छोड़ के अभी आएंगे
बेबे करता रे
Sir, there has been a firing upon a crowd in Amritsar.
Casualties?
Don't know, sir.
Wounded?
Many.
धारा 144 लागू है मार्शल लॉ जारी है सुनो सिपाही वापस आ रहे हैं भागो भागो बहन जी नीचे बैठ जाओ बहन जी
All out.
सरदार जी नहीं मिल रहा मेरे सरदार जी नहीं लगा सरदार जी कितने हो
Oh no, lay down. Oh no.
जिंदा है कोई
सरदार जी
He's still going. Dude's.
Message from Sir Michael O'Dwyer, sir.
I've been up all night, haven't had any sleep. I did my duty, served my country.
He's gonna take himself out.
Is the curfew to be kept on?
What time is it?
6 a.m., sir.
Announce a relaxation at 8 a.m. They will need to bury and burn their dead.
Yes, sir.
Is it quiet out there?
Yes, sir.
उस रात मैंने मौत देखी एक बस वही अपनी थी फिर सब अपने हो गए जब मैं 18 साल का हुआ तो मेरे ग्रंथी जी ने मुझसे कहा जवानी रब का दिया हुआ तोहफा है अब ये तेरे ऊपर है तू इस तोहफे को जाया करता है या इसको कोई मतलब देता है पूछूंगा उनसे मेरी जवानी का कोई मतलब बना या जाया कर दी
Is there anything I can do for you?
Yes. Tell people I was a revolutionary.
स्ट्रेचर बुलाओ चुक के ले जाओ स्कैल्पल सब रेडी करो उतर
She's gone.
जिंदा नहीं टिंचर और ला के रखो स्ट्रेचर लेके आओ दोबारा हाँ
How are you? A couple of months have gone now. Come back.
You must ask for a pardon. You live.
Time to meet my friend.
Please, Udham.
That's time, miss.
Time.
Oh, yeah, the note.
Sir?
Yes?
Wow.
They had defied Section 144. Martial law and curfew were already in place. Those who were assembled in Jallianwala Bagh knew they had violated the law.
And you decided that you would fire onto the crowd?
Yes. I went with the deliberate intention of opening fire if I found a crowd assembled there.
Supposing the passage was sufficient for the armored cars to go in, would you have fired with the machine guns?
I think probably yes.
And in that case, the casualties would have been much higher.
Yes.
If General Dyer had not dispersed that crowd by force, we would have had an infinitely worse state of rebellion.
Don't you think that the firing went on for too long?
My responsibility was that if I fire, I must fire with good effect. A small amount of firing is a criminal act.
I was going to punish them. My idea was to make a wide, strong impression. I was going to teach them a lesson.
Wow. All right, guys. It's not often that here on the channel we do movies of this level and gravity and what this one is it's right up there with anything that I've ever seen, certainly, as far as showing brutality and parts of history that are often forgotten, as they said, sometimes just footnotes in a history book, and many times people don't even know about them. And
Andrew, I like Quinn said, we don't. I think, given the nature of this film, and in the interest of respect for the fact that this is a true story, I'm not gonna give this movie a rating.
Yeah, there's again, this is something of incredible, brutality and history, and oftentimes, something like this is incredibly uncomfortable to watch. That last scene, if you will, that went long, and it went intentionally long to make you feel uncomfortable and to make you, realize just what had happened in this time period. So often during World War II, we only hear about, so much of the fighting in Europe. I mean, a lot of this is never even talked about. I mean, that's when you're in that time period, your 1940s, it's typically all World War II, fighting on the Western Front or, Normandy, Omaha Beach, that sort of thing. This is a part of history that not a lot of people know about, including myself. And it's important to learn about this type of thing. They talked a lot about, fear and using that to imprison people and to rule, with fear. And in the end, I think that's what our main character was trying to fight against, and to try to help his people, to try to be a symbol of light or freedom of somehow. They talked about freedom so many times in this, and he had the big speech talking about, the freedom of speech and that sort of thing. And it was some real, because it was the 1940s, well, and starting in 1919, I guess, and all the way through the 1940s, we saw so many strange alliances that people might not have otherwise known about. So I thought that was really interesting. And, it's just, I mean, that last scene was absolutely brutal, guys. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that on film, certainly. And that was something that was just incredibly powerful that, this should be shown right along, I think, with many history lessons about things like World War II and that people had seen, because, there's a lot of this that happens. And I'm going to wrap mine up here real quick and let the other guys get their thoughts in. But, there's been things, like this that have happened all over the world, and people don't know about them because of other events that might happen, or, other things going on in the world at the time, or just, like I said, they wanted to control the press and control the media essentially about this whole thing. So if you get anything out of this, and if you've made it, this far, I really hope that something like this resonates with a lot of people, and that they take the time to look back at history and see what was sacrificed, what things people have done, and where we are now, and just try to remember that, these things did happen. It is important to know this. And don't let them just be a footnote in a history book. Like they said, it's very important stuff. So, again, an incredibly powerful movie. It got the ratings that it did because of that. So I'm going to leave it at that. I agree with Oak. I don't think you can rate something like this. This is just something really incredible to have to see.
This was really well done. From how it was shot to everything to, we always joked around about how if it looked like it did during that time, and it looked really, really well done as far as the set pieces, right down to the clothing to everything. Vicky Kaushal, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, was amazing in this role. He did a great job. the big line was the fine print in your textbook. That's what it was. Because I mean, these two are more history buffs than I am, and I am not gonna ever say that I'm a history buff. I know some things. I don't know everything. And I obviously knew nothing about this, and this actually seems like it should be pretty important and pretty well known. It should be a lot more well known than what it is if these two didn't even know about it. But it was really well done. The ending scene, it was the hard part is like you had to show that. You had to show it because it's important to show when something like that happens, to drive home the fact of what happened that day. And there's no escaping it. But I would have given it a really, really high score because overall it was really well done. I like the time jumps. They weren't confusing. They actually were kind of helpful to shape how he became who he was. And, you know, you're like, well, how did he come to this? He wasn't a fighter. Well, then him just exhausting himself trying to save anybody and anybody he could. And, you know, from then on, it was all about, you know, fighting for what he believed in. Oak.
You know, when I think we know that a large part of our audience watching this is going to be people from overseas, and you know, in American history books, we don't learn about this, period. And the people who are watching this on both Patreon and YouTube that are from America, unless you went through an education system, you know, significantly different than the one I went through, you probably don't know the story either. And it's an incredibly sad story. You know, Mason Quinn used the word brutal. It's I think about as brutal as anything that I've ever seen or heard about. I mean, war is tough. This wasn't war. This was a peaceful gathering of people. And the thing that kept going through my head in that scene is, at what point do you stop doing your duty? When do you stop pulling the trigger? And I have a really hard time with that because they just kept going and going and going, and I don't know. It was very tough to watch. But I agree with Quinn, and I agree with the answer that it needed to be shown. During that scene, you know, I felt like, man, this is going long, and not from a cinematic standpoint or a story standpoint, just from like, this is really hard to watch. But they had a story that they wanted to tell, and you know, you can kind of go back and forth on whether somebody who, you know, assassinates somebody is a hero or a revolutionary, or if the justice system, you know, I mean, there's people who are of the mindset that, you know, violence doesn't solve anything, and going back and doing this years later may not have been the right move. But I'm not of that mindset. I think anybody who was there and witnessed what he witnessed would have all the reason to do what he did. But I guess I want to focus a little bit more on his heroism. You know, it's hard to know, you know how accurate a film adaptation of real life events is. But I think it's safe to say that he went back and he was helping people and he was saving people, and saw things that very few people in this world will ever see, and things that I don't think we can even wrap our head around. I mean, it's hard just watching. It's hard watching it on TV. And to the people who made this movie, they made it incredibly graphic. But they very much did it on purpose because I think that it makes it more real. Like when you see somebody get hit and fall, you know, you get that they've passed away, but the nature of the way they shot this, I think really it makes you think a lot harder about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great story. I think it's a good story to be told. but it is sad. Look, it's not a footnote in history books. It's just not. It's not in our history books. I mean, we have our World War One. You know, a lot of our American history books talk about political figures and wars. It seems like, you know.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. The civil rights movement, obviously, a big thing in our history books. You know, things that happened after the Civil War, as far as, you know, slaves being freed. But when you look back in history books, and we have history classes here in America, basically from, I think we started in, you know, 5th or 6th grade. I think when we're in when we're younger in America, when you're in like, you know, preschool, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade. I think it's like math and reading and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you
there's
do
social
it,
studies,
science and social
fourth
studies.
grade. Fourth grade, I remember.
These are the
learning about
50 states, blah, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, more social
Branches
studies,
of government, that sort of thing,
and less like in-depth history stuff. And so I've never even heard of this. I've never. And like Answer had said, like my grandfather was in World War II, so was my great uncle. My father, uncles, stepfather all served in the military during Vietnam. I have an uncle that served in the Korean War, and I didn't serve myself, but I've immersed myself in U.S. history from the war standpoint, especially World War II. So it's a little after this time frame, but you know, I seek out historical stuff, and I've never seen this. I've never seen a documentary on this. I've never sseen another movie about it, and this was brilliantly done. The way they told the story was phenomenal. I don't feel comfortable giving. I mean, this is essentially an adaptation of, you know, if we watched a documentary,
it's almost like a brutal documentary with a story.
You know, if we watched a documentary as a group, we wouldn't rate a documentary. And I know this is a movie, but this is our first time, all three of us, learning about this. And for me,
and a lot of the comments said this is pretty accurate to.
Yeah, that's one of the things that people said. It was pretty accurate. So I want to make it very clear, and I think both these gentlemen agree that I think this was phenomenally done. It's a very difficult story to watch, but the life of Sardar Udham was absolutely incredible in the things that he did. So in no way, shape, or form to myself or these gentlemen have any disrespectful intentions by not giving it a rating. This is a true story.
Yeah, it's above that.
This is unique for us, but it's a learning experience, and this is it's something to be learned about. It's something that hopefully you can move forward with lessons from history, and as cliche as it sounds, not let history repeat itself, and learn from the bravery and the sacrifices that other people made. But this isn't the type of thing that you rate. Again, I think they did an amazing job with it. For as hard as it was to watch, I'm glad that I watched it, because now I know. But it's not something that I can rate. I'm glad I know about it. I'm glad that I know the story. And thank you to the people who recommended this. This was a
powerful.
It's very. Thank you, Answer. That's the best word. It's powerful. This is. I don't want to say like this is a great movie, because it's like, it's powerful. It's,
it's different. You know, it's different. You're not watching, you know, your typical big blockbuster type movie. This is something that's telling you something that happened, and in a very brutal situation, and almost more to educate you, using the vehicle of a movie and a story to educate you about something. So real powerful stuff.
Yeah, I think the best way to finish this off, and in lieu of any sort of ranking, is to just pay our respects to the people who lost their lives that day, and the people who fought for freedom of the country following those events, and certainly Sardar Udham. So I think that's the best thing that we can do in place of any sort of rating system.
Absolutely.
If you want to learn more about it, watch the movie, and you'll learn everything you need to learn about it. So for Appleton Oak, that's Mason Quinn. I'm, of course, the Answer. Good night, pals.